You guys see the Madison Square Garden rally blowback is so bad that even Donald Trump has to walk it back?
I'm Cam with Progressive Victory, political organizer, but I was not that a couple years ago. I actually was just a random Voshite, just a Vosh viewer, and got involved volunteering with Progressive Victory, and now this is what I do. I've changed career paths, and I'm organizing with them full time. It's a really great stream-focused org, getting young people involved, speaking our language. It's great. We have created a new game called Streamocracy.
Your real-world advocacy, rewarded online. From Progressive Victory, introducing Quick Save Democracy. Enter the Quick Save Democracy Hub, a place where volunteers can be rewarded for their volunteer work. Select your team and complete action quests like checking your voter registration or signing up for a phone bank. Claim rewards to compete with other PV members. The more victory points you earn, the higher your score. The points you earn also increase your team score. Prove your favorite content creator is the best in Streamocracy. Use all the victory points you've earned to win electoral college votes for your team. Just select a district and choose how many votes you want to buy. The creator with the most states on election day wins. Streamocracy is available to play right now on Quick Save Democracy.
We have gamified democracy, and you can get involved and win the map for Vosh. It's just progress.win/hub, HUB.
This is now like an honor thing. You have to perform well or you'll be shaming me as a live streamer, which will, of course, be sort of met out with consequences to all of you. Please do sign up with PV, okay? It's real important. I signed up already? Good. Even if you don't think you'll be able to canvass, sign up, okay? Can do some damn good work there. Trump disregards MSG rally comedian, says he has nothing to do with the party. My brother in Christ, you invited him to the cookout. Nothing to do with the party. You booked him.
You've created a broad coalition. I believe the Republican Party is now the party of hardworking men and women, and the Democratic Party is the party of Hollywood, New York, and D.C. coastal elites.
If that.
He says talking definitionally to a coastal elite.
If that. So you have built a very broad, diverse coalition, including Hispanic Americans, African Americans. And by the way, I'll put the numbers up on the screen and we can show people where they were in those first 3 years of your presidency.
This is one of the reasons why I say that Americans don't have the sauce to do a full-on death camp like fill the mass graves kind of dealio. And it's because even the fascist party on the fascist network talking to the fascist candidate, thank you, Benjamin, I'll read that out sooner rather than later. Even when the fascists are talking fascistly about fascism, they still have to be like, and polling with Hispanic and Black Americans is through the roof for your fascism, you know? Like, it's they have to, they're still in the veneer of liberal anti-racism. They still have to pretend that they're for everyone. Yeah, but they're lying. I know they're lying, but they still have to lie.
Best growth rate in 60 years, and the people that did best were minorities in America.
That's right. They did the best.
And you have built this coalition. Anyway, so you have this big event at Madison Square Garden. It went on for hours. I don't even know if you were there for the whole thing. I don't know what time you got there. I was told and made aware that you had no idea about this comedian who made comments.
I have no idea who.
We have no idea who this guy was. He just somehow showed up on the booking. His script got vetted by the campaign team, and he was allowed on the stage at Madison Square Garden in anticipation of the president's speech at a rally like a week before the election. But we have no idea who he is. We couldn't tell him from Adam. Honest to God.
Who he is. Somebody said there was a comedian that joked about Puerto Rico or something, and I have no idea who he is. Never saw him, never heard of him, and don't want to hear of him. But I have no idea. They put a comedian in, which everybody does. You throw comedians in. You don't vet them and go crazy. It's nobody's fault.
It's just a typical thing you do, like 1 week out from a presidential election. You put comedians in your presidential rally, a normal thing to do, like off the face of things, and then you don't vet them. You know, you just have them go up there and, like, you know, you do whatever. Who cares?
But somebody said some bad things. Now, what they've done is taken somebody that has nothing to do with the party, has nothing to do with us, said something, and they try and make a big deal. But I don't know who it is. I don't even know who put him in. And I can't imagine it's a big deal. I've done more for Puerto Rico than any president I think that's ever
Toss paper
that's ever been
towels.
president. When the hurricanes came, I rebuilt. I helped them rebuild their
Blocked aid to Puerto Rico to keep them from rebuilding.
electrical system. I helped them rebuild dams and everything else. That place was hit by so many hurricanes. It's almost like hurricane.
Literally did the exact opposite of what he said he was going to do here. He said he would sell Puerto Rico. I still can't believe that, man. Trump considered selling Puerto Rico following Hurricane Maria, former acting Homeland Security chief says. That's crazy.
3,000 people did not die here. That number, just bad politics, false claims from President Trump that are hard to hear for Puerto Ricans still recovering from Hurricane Maria last year.
The victims nor the people of Puerto Rico deserve to have their pain questioned. This has been
I don't want to be mean or vindictive, but like, I'm glad Puerto Rico's waking up to this a little bit. I think if you're Puerto Rican and you even considered voting for Trump, you're genuinely like a I'm really sorry. This is like the lowest possible bar. Trump so obviously detests you. The hatred Trump has for you and your people and your island is greater than any group that he's taught. Like, genuinely, Trump has hedged his statements more on Mexicans than he has Puerto Ricans. Like, what are you talking about? Unbelievable. Puerto Rican musician Nicky Jam has retracted his Trump endorsement because of Puerto Rico. Yeah, but the fact that he had it to begin with is genuinely psychotic. Puerto Rico deserves respect. You're genuinely, you're like insane. You're like 40 IQ. What are you talking about? Puerto Rico was being shown so much respect by Donald Trump prior to this point. Are you ant? You're an insect. What are you talking about?
long process. As you know, we didn't have a lot of the resources.
After the storm, Chef Jose Andres served hundreds of thousands of meals to shell-shocked communities. He says the president should be ashamed.
His tweet only shows you his lack of empathy. I don't think he can speak because he didn't walk around the streets of Puerto Rico, showing up in San Juan and going to the places that were okay. This is not trying to understand the reality.
What is your death count?
True, 2 weeks after the storm, the death toll was low.
16 people certified. 16 people versus in the thousands.
But a new study out of George Washington University found that 2,975 people in Puerto Rico died after Hurricane
Just
Maria,
off by a factor
number
of like
acknowledged
200.
by the Puerto Rican government.
And I saw him get on the floor, and I couldn't do nothing to help him.
Miriam Rodriguez's husband, Natalio, relied on this machine to breathe. When they lost power, he lost air.
That wasn't a normal death. That wasn't.
Natalio's family is just one of many who believe Hurricane Maria contributed to their loss, the kind of losses Trump now says has been fabricated for political gain.
Yeah, that was 4 years ago.
It's also
That was 4 years ago, and now we have to deal with people being like, uh-oh, it's over for Trump now. He disrespected Puerto Rico. I love politics. And then he considered selling Puerto Rico. Yeah. Can we outsource the electricity? Can we sell the island, or divest of that asset?
Hurricane Alley. I've never seen anything like it. And Puerto Ricans love me because I was the president that stood up for them more than any president. I've had great relationships with Hispanics, but I've had really great relationship with Puerto Rico and people from Puerto Rico. They love. Every time I go outside, I see somebody from Puerto Rico. They give me a hug and a kiss. I gave them more money. I sent a hospital ship when they had one of the big hurricanes. They had no hospitals. The hospitals were wiped out. I sent the big Mercy ship. I sent it to Puerto Rico fully equipped. It took care of things. I mean, they love me in Puerto Rico, and I love them. I was there handing out food. I got in trouble for that, too, because we were having fun. We had a lot of people, and I was throwing paper towels to the back. They were all having fun.
We were all having such a good time. There are probably people watching right now who don't remember this. After a devastating hurricane, he is literally here to do like an appearance at a bunch of like a political like a press conference, like we're here at the site of disaster. They've got aid supplies up in the front, and he starts like throwing three-pointers to the crowd of, like, these people aren't, like, the desperate, like, they're here for the rally, and he's like, oop. It's like media, like he's throwing this at, like, journalists. It was fun. We had fun. He's so relatable. I would also want to do this. He's literally me. I should be clear, by the way, like, I'm talking a lot of shit on Puerto Rico for not already being, like, 100-0 in favor of Kamala, considering how Donald Trump has treated them in the past. Remember what I said before, okay? People only get the media they're exposed to, all right? And we live in a world where the media is owned by, like, 5 people, and all of them hate you and are demonic. So they, you know, like, people are constantly exposed both to algorithms and social media and literally directly to news feeds through press, TV, whatever, where they are fed misinformation. The most powerful people in the world are pulling out all the stops to misinform them. It's not really their fault.
The fake news came, oh, that was very disrespectful to be throwing towels. No, I have unbelievable good relationship with Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican people. Who this comedian was, I have no idea.
You wish he wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a big deal or not, but I don't want anybody making nasty jokes or stupid jokes.
Do you have any idea how bad the conversation must have been with Trump after the rally for him to be walking things back like this? Donald Trump never walks back anything. I can only think of a few times. His hatred of Elon Musk, him pretending that everyone wanted Roe v. Wade revoked, and now this. I can only think of those 3 examples of somebody in the back end being like, dude, you need to change your tone now.
Probably he shouldn't have been there, yeah.
Let me ask this. It seems to, as we come down, as just an American citizen, I've never been more concerned about the country, the state of the world. Especially, we got war in Europe, we got war in the Middle East. We have a presidential candidate that talks about mandatory gun buybacks and no fracking and no drilling.
Well,
and
talks actually about.
She doesn't talk about those things. It'd be based if she did. I mean, I don't like the idea of mandatory gun buybacks, but I mean, they're not really buybacks then, are they? But, you know, kind of like gun eminent domain at that point, but.
A confiscation of your guns.
That's correct.
Not a buyback.
That's what it is.
They're going to confiscate your guns.
Okay.
If she wins, they will confiscate your guns.
And the new Green Deal, $93 trillion, eliminate the filibuster, eliminate private health insurance, sex change operations, and amnesty for illegals. All of this, it didn't get covered by the press. However, at the end of the day,
it's just really infuriating to have to live in a world where if you watch right-wing interviews, the interviewer is like, your opponents all sacrifice babies to Moloch. They're pedophiles, and here are 17 policies they don't believe in that we're going to pretend they believe in. And Donald Trump gets to be like, I know, it's terrible. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris gets interviewed on like ABC or something, and they're like, can you explain to me how you're even remotely different from Joe Biden? And Kamala Harris is like, well, I'm more willing to get along with Republicans than Joe Biden. That's great. Thank you. It's like just the juxtaposition, man, of how vicious Republicans are and how anemic Democrats are, and how complicit in the viciousness Republican media is, and how, like, tepid and unhelpful so-called Democrat media is, you know?
if you win, this is going to be about the borders, energy,
Going to be about
the economy,
It's going to be about
law and order,
healthcare,
safety, security.
It's going to be about healthcare, taking care of people. It's going to be about things other than what you would typically think coming from me. We're going to take care of our borders immediately, day one. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We have more liquid gold than anybody else, including Saudi Arabia.
Bigger than last time, because you made us energy independent for the first time
You
in
were
75
energy independent.
years.
We would have been energy dominant. Well, I'll tell you, Anwar in Alaska, I got it approved. Reagan couldn't do it. This is the biggest find anywhere in the world. It's the size of Saudi Arabia. Some people say it might even be bigger. Think of it. Saudi Arabia in our country. Alaska, they were already, I got it approved. I got everything done. Biden comes in. The first thing he does is.
I've been watching House Senate gubernatorial debates across the country, and the same talking points are made in the same order by the GOP. They all start with, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago, and eventually divert into Democrats using tax dollars to fund sex change operations for illegal criminals. Yeah, it reminds me of something that Jon Stewart said when he went on Fox News a long time ago, back when he was the host of The Daily Show, which is he was getting lambasted for the way he covers media. And he said, well, I'm not like you. I don't take my orders. Like, I'm me. I come up with what I want to say. You work for Fox News. You're given a story to tell. There's a fundamental difference in the way. And he's right. Like, no, there are no Republican pundits or politicians who operate independently. I shouldn't say no. I'm sure there are some, but there aren't very many. The vast majority of them get marching orders. They are controlled from the top down. A lot of Democrats aren't, believe it or not. There are many, many Democrats who are just kind of on their own. In fact, this is a big criticism of the DNC. They rarely fund like dark horse candidates in seats that could maybe be contested. They've abandoned many operations in places like Florida, the Sun Belt, because they don't think it's worth their time or investment. So when Democrats do succeed there, it's usually in spite of the DNC rather than because of them. Now, I don't think the Democrats should be giving everyone marching orders. Financial support would be nice.
Ended. We would have been supplying oil and gas to China, to all of Asia, it's Alaska, to Japan. It would have been unbelievable. We would have been paying down debt. He comes in and he rejects it because the environmentalists reject it. It has nothing to do with the environment. It's good for the environment.
When you say energy dominant, would you be able to ratchet up production, natural gas, oil, coal,
very quickly,
where we could provide all the energy needs to, say, Western Europe?
Yeah.
And that means Vladimir Putin would be cut off?
We would have taken over Western Europe. Oil prices will go down. And Vladimir Putin wouldn't be able to prosecute the war. Look, when they
prosecute the war, we were going to take over Europe. Dude, he's like melting. Jesus Christ.
Came in, they screwed up my energy program, and the prices went through the roof. And
energy independence is a dumb myth. Yeah, we're already energy independent. Or I'm sorry, I should say there's no such thing as energy independence because oil companies would lose money if we were energy independent. Shell and Exxon and stuff, they don't want energy independence. They profit from us not being energy independent. We could be energy independent if we just didn't care about the markets and we kept our resources internally. But why would we do that?
Putin went in. If I were president, that would have, number one, we wouldn't have had inflation. Oil wouldn't have gone up like it did. But it got close to $100 a barrel. He made a lot of money during the war. At $100 a barrel, he makes money. At $40 and $50 a barrel, he wouldn't have even thought about doing it. Biden forced him. He said, we're going to raise the price of oil. Oil went up to $100, almost $100 a barrel. Would have gone up even more. You know what they did? They went back to my policy and got it down a little bit, but only a little bit because it wasn't really my policy. Right now, we would have 3 to 4 times more than what we're doing. But if they didn't go back to my policy, you would have been paying literally $20 a gallon for gasoline for your car. They want to get rid of all gas. I will end that immediately, by the way. You're going to be able to get a gas-powered car. You're going to be able to get a hybrid. You're going to be able to get an electric car.
I love living in something that isn't reality. Like OPEC can just cut production to increase the price of oil, even if the U.S. produced more. Sure, though that would be to their detriment as well. We are pretty well situated when it comes to our, like, the main reason we still import oil, we import it from countries that get shitty crude, so we refine it with our massive, like, petroleum refining facilities, and we make a profit off of the fact that only we can refine it. The oil that's in America is like sweet Texas. It's beautiful. The oil in America, it's perfect. You could drink that shit straight out of the ground. Yum, yum. Your car runs out of oil, just hook a pipe up to the gas tank and drive it down into the soil, like 3, 5, 4 feet deep, whatever. You get the oil in, yum, yum, you keep going. Spicy water, delicious, sweet. Marinate that shit. Put your wings in it. But the oil that comes out of, like, Venezuela, dog shit. Venezuelan oil, dog shit. It's terrible. Takes a lot of technical know-how to refine oil that bad, and we have the facilities. So one of the ways that our fossil fuel companies make their money, it's not just by digging up oil and natural gas out of the ground. It's by importing cheap, low-quality crude and refining it with facilities only we have. Venezuela can't refine their crude, at least not very well. Their crude is too nasty. It's too dirty. Our petroleum refining facilities are literally the greatest in the world. So we're the only ones who can do it. So we get to sell their oil after it's been refined with we get a good margin on that, you know? Like we buy it up for cheap and we sell it at a high price. So the reason we import oil has nothing to do with our need for energy. It's entirely down to like profiteering from oil companies and the companies that own those petroleum refining facilities. I see somebody watched a new Well, There's Your Problem episode. Thank you for reminding me to plug. If you want to know more about U.S. petroleum processing and a bunch of other things, check out the Well, There's Your Problem podcast. Hey, man, you think I'm embarrassed? When you motherfuckers repeat this to your, like, partners when you're laying in bed with them later tonight, like, oh, did you know the reason why American energy independence isn't a big... You're going to have to say you got it from me. Imagine how embarrassing that makes you look. I get to cite a respected podcast with professionals and engineers. You have to be like, oh, the guy who says 17 times a stream, I heard it from him. I can just lie, you idiot. Yeah, but then your soul is corrupted and you won't go to heaven because lying's a sin.
But they have
freedom, the choice to buy what you
they
want.
want to force, and nothing wrong with electric, but they want to force everybody to electric. Everybody doesn't want electric.
What would your role for Elon be, Elon Musk?
So Elon has a lot of roles he could take because he's a very exceptional guy. But he has a thing. He feels there's such waste, fraud, and abuse in our budgets. And he's right. And he's a great cost cutter. And he'll cut costs without anybody even knowing it. Nobody's going to know it. Nobody's going to feel it. He will cut costs, and he feels he can save $2 trillion. If he does that, our budget is more than balanced.
Hey, Sean.
2 trillion. That's so true. Yeah, man, that's true. He cut the cost of Twitter from 40 billion to like 6 billion. Man knows what he's doing. Yeah, we talked about it, user test account. I genuinely can't believe that Donald Trump is so mentally cooked that at the Madison Square Garden rally, he literally like tipped off everyone that he and Mike Johnson are conspiring to contest the election by preventing 270 electors from being counted to either candidate, therefore, like, forcing the election to be decided by a state delegation House vote. Like, he just said it. He was like, we got a secret for you. Why would you say, are you like an anime villain? Why are you revealing your secret technique? You're like a JoJo stand user. Oh, my technique works by, like, I have poles that I drive in the ground that you are magnetic to now, and as you get closer to one, the other two grow in strength, so you're always bound to the center of the three. Why would you tell him that? You didn't tell him that. And then in Jujutsu Kaisen, they're like, well, my ability gets stronger when I tell you how it works. Okay, I see you. You're a coward. Whatever the name of the person who writes Jujutsu Kaisen is, you should just be like Araki, and you should just have them say what their power is. Trying to put it into the damn system. They only had one guy who did that in Hunter x Hunter, and it was the Mad Bomber. And that made sense because of how Nen vows work.